In 1897, a cargo ship is traveling from Romania to England. It is later found on the shore, abandoned with no survivors. A lighthouse crew discovers the wreck and finds the captain's logbook, which explains what caused the crew's death. 4 days earlier, the Demeter is docked in Varna, Bulgaria, getting ready to sail to England. Nearby, a group of men are playing gambling. Among them is Clemens, who is a talented doctor. A messenger arrives to announce that the ship Demeter needs more sailors. Clemens quickly gets in line for the job. When they ask for 3 strong sailors, a scar-faced man steps up, claiming to be the strongest in town, which impresses the first mate. When the captain arrives, he notices Clemens' neat appearance and polite manner. Clemens explains he graduated from Cambridge University with a medical degree and could be useful on the ship as a doctor. However, the first mate points out they only need strong sailors, not someone with weak legs and soft hands. In the end, the scar-faced man and 2 other strong men are chosen instead. Later, when the group delivering crates arrived, they surprisingly refused to load them onto the ship. Instead, they paid more than the required fee and wished the crew good luck, leaving the first mate confused. As the sailors were lifting the crates onto the ship, the scar-faced man suddenly panicked after noticing a dragon seal on one of them. He let the rope slip from his hands, and at that moment, a young boy ran under the falling crate. Luckily, Clemens saw what was happening and quickly rushed to save the boy. The child turned out to be Toby, the captain's grandson. For saving his grandson, the captain thanks Clemens and allows him to join the crews of sailor. The scar-faced man, after seeing the dragon symbol, quickly backed away from the ship. Once everything was ready, the Demeter set sail for London, the capital city of the United Kingdom. On the mainland, the cargo handlers watched the ship sail away and prayed. It seemed like they knew something terrible was waiting for the ship. On board, young Toby, grateful to Clemens for saving him, quickly grew fond of him. He eagerly showed Clemens every part of the ship and proudly told him that in any emergency, all they had to do was knock on the ship's walls, and everyone would hear. Toby boasted that the Demeter was so well built, a finely crafted wooden vessel. The young boy then moved through the animal pens, making sure all the animals were well cared for. His last stop was the ship's galley, where the head chef told him that if he heard 6 bell tolls, he must be there immediately or risk going hungry. In the first days aboard the Demeter, the crew enjoyed good weather and smooth sailing. Meanwhile, the captain and his first mate had a conversation. During their talk, the captain decided that this would be his last voyage. He didn't want his nephew Toby to inherit a dangerous life at sea. So, he planned to hand over his position and the ship to the first mate once they reached London. While the crew above deck sang and danced joyfully, something moved inside one of the crates in the cargo hold. Later, the crew gathered in the galley, chatting excitedly about how they would spend their hard-earned wages after the voyage. One of the sailors asked Clemens what he planned to do with his earnings. Clemens explained that this journey was not about money for him. Instead, he wanted to explore the beauty of the world through the lens of natural science, a belief that stood in contrast to the superstitions that were common in their time. His words made the others laugh, as it was an unusual thing to say. Suddenly, Toby's dog looked down and began barking loudly. This caused Toby and Clemens to hurry down to the cargo hold. There, they heard the distressed cries of the animals. Clemens thought it was just the weather, and indeed, a storm was coming, making the ship rock dangerously. He told Toby to inform the captain while he went into the cargo hold to check things out. As he knelt down to investigate, a sudden arm reached out, startling him. It was a woman, looking very sick and speaking incoherently. The crew was naturally worried, fearing she might have an infectious disease. Despite the crew's worries about infection, Clemens, as a doctor, decided to help the young woman. He chose to give her a blood transfusion from his own body. Meanwhile, in the cargo hold, a hand with sharp, claw-like nails began to slowly emerge, suggesting that something was awakening. After giving the transfusion, Clemens went up to the deck to take the night watch with one of the sailors. The sailor went around the deck, checking everything, and then used a spyglass to look at the surrounding area. As the sailor looked through the spyglass, he suddenly saw the face of a demon appear in the lens, terrifying him. Clemens began to worry when the sailor hadn't returned. He secured the ship's wheel and went to investigate. When he tapped the side of the ship to signal the sailor came to him, his face filled with fear. He asked Clemens if he had seen anything unusual on the deck, but Clemens said he hadn't seen anything. Meanwhile, in the cargo hold, the dog started barking nonstop, sensing something was wrong. The head chef went into the animal pens and was horrified to find that all the animals had been killed by bites. Even the dog was dead, having suffered the same fate. The crew believed the dog had contracted rabies and attacked the other animals before dying from the disease. Fearing a rabies outbreak, they decided to throw all the dead animals into the sea. The next morning, the crew worked hard at the oars to fight through the storm. It was the 10th day of their journey. Clemens continued with the blood transfusions for the sick woman. As night fell, a sailor on night watch heard a loud noise. He went to investigate and found that the cargo hold hatch had been forcefully broken open, leaving a large hole. When he examined the area, he came face to face with a grotesque creature that looked like a demon. As the sailor drew his knife, the creature lunged at him, using its sharp claws to rip his throat open and drain his blood. By morning, panic spread as the missing sailor was nowhere to be found, and a trail of blood was found on the ship's floor. At that moment, the woman woke up and rushed forward, shouting, "He is here, and he will kill all of you." At first, her words were ignored, but Clemens quickly went to calm her down and brought her back to her room. There, the woman revealed her name as Anna, a villager from the village where the crates with the dragon seal had come from. She explained that the entire village lived in fear of a demon called Dracula, who lived in an ancient castle on a mountain. This demon appeared as a man during the day, but at night, it would kill and drink the blood of innocent people. To protect the villagers, the village elders had offered Anna as a sacrifice to appease the demon, which is why she had been sent along with it in the cargo. The next day, during a stormy night, the demon emerged again to hunt. Two sailors on night watch duty noticed something strange on the ship's deck and go to investigate. One was caught by the demon and killed in a brutal attack, leaving his terrified companion to climb the mast in a desperate attempt to escape. However, the demon pursued him relentlessly. With no one steering the ship, it tilted sharply, throwing everyone out of their beds. They rushed to the deck to take control of the wheel, but their panic grew when they found no sign of the two missing sailors. As they searched frantically, Clemens noticed blood dripping onto Toby's clothes. Terrified, Toby looked up, and they found one of the sailors, badly injured with a bite mark on his neck. The other sailor was still missing. The ship had been at sea for 18 days, and the crew was now descending into a state of fearful madness, starting to believe Anna's warnings. The captain ordered everyone to arm themselves and search every part of the ship to find and kill the demon. As the sun set, the bitten sailor transformed into a vicious vampire. He broke free from the rigging and began hunting Toby to bring him to his master. The terrified boy ran to the captain's cabin, locked the door, and began pounding on the walls, desperately trying to warn the others. As Toby was terrified, Dracula lay in wait, and when the others finally got inside, the vampire captured Toby and drank his blood. The next morning, the vampire sailor was tied to the mast, and as the sun rose, he burst into flames. That night, fearing for his life, the head chef secretly took one of the lifeboats, planning to escape alone. However, the lifeboat returned to the ship, covered in blood. Meanwhile, Anna asked Clemens to help her inspect the cargo crates. They soon discovered that the crates were meant for a monastery in London. They initially discovered crates full of sand, but one crate stood out with unique markings. Upon opening it, they found a dragon-headed staff. Anna instantly knew this was the source of the evil. Meanwhile, despite receiving a blood transfusion from his grandfather, Toby didn't make it and was covered in a white cloth for a sea burial. Just as the crew was ready to send him off into the sea, the captain noticed something odd. The body seemed to stir. He rushed over and removed the cloth, only for Toby to suddenly open his eyes and lunges at his grandfather. Vampire Toby was quickly consumed by flames when exposed to sunlight, prompting Clemens to hurl him into the sea. The ship was now less than a day from London, and the crew was a mix of frantic panic and fear, desperately searching for a way to deal with the demon. Their plan was to sink the ship, hoping to drown Dracula before he could reach the shore. Anna had warned them that guns and bullets wouldn't stop Dracula, so they set to work creating a trap that blocked all access to the ship's wheel, leaving only one path for Dracula to follow. Anna would act as bait while the rest of the crew waits to ambush him, hoping to inflict serious damage. As night fell, the demon wakes up. It soars through the sky, circling the ship. With its terrifying power and ability to fly, the demon swiftly killed one sailor before focusing on the ship's mate. However, the mate managed to puncture the ship, allowing water to flood in before sacrificing himself. The captain met the same fate as the rest of the crew. Only Anna and Clemens were left to confront the bloodthirsty demon. In a fit of rage, Clemens yelled, hoping to draw the demon out. It appeared behind him, effortlessly knocking him aside. Just as it prepared to finish Clemens, Anna shot it from behind, but the demon seemed unaffected. It then lunged at Anna, feeding on her blood. Clemens grabbed an axe and, with all his strength, struck the demon from behind. The two tried to reach the lifeboat, but the demon quickly caught up, seizing Clemens by the neck. He defiantly told the demon he wasn't scared, and the demon coldly responded that he soon would be. Just as it was about to bite him, Anna severed the rope binding the mast, causing it to crash down onto the demon. With the ship sinking, Anna and Clemens leaped into the water. They believed Dracula had been trapped beneath the mast and the sinking ship, but the demon managed to push the mast off, and the ship was too near the shore to sink entirely. Floating among the wreckage, Anna soon realized that she was changing into a vampire. As the first light of dawn broke, she prepared herself for the inevitable end. Clemens, the only survivor of the Demeter, later found himself in a London tavern. There, he saw Dracula, now disguised as an aristocrat, flash a mysterious smile before vanishing. Clemens swore vengeance, vowing to hunt down the demon and send him back to the hell where he belonged. In this way, movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie recaps.